The medical industry does not make money from healthy people. It does not make money from dead people either. The money is in the middle, in the chronic, in the managed, in the patient who comes back every month for the rest of their life. I learned that at 24. I built my entire life around never becoming that patient. I am 97. It worked. My name is Ruth, and before you dismiss me as a conspiracy theorist in a rocking chair, let me tell you what I am not saying. I am not saying doctors are villains. I am not saying hospitals have no place. If I fall tomorrow and break something, I will go. They are mechanics, good ones. They can set a bone and sew a wound and pull you back from the edge of something acute with genuine skill. What I am saying is something more precise than that. I am saying that the system built around them, the pharmaceutical industry, the insurance industry, the entire financial architecture of modern medicine is not designed to make you well. It is designed to make you manageable. There is a difference. And that difference has been the organizing principle of my life for 73 years. Let me tell you where this started. I was 24 years old, working as a bookkeeper for a small medical practice in rural Virginia. I was young and I trusted white coats the way most people trust white coats, completely and without question, because that is what you were taught to do. One afternoon, an older nurse, a woman who had worked in medicine since before I was born, found me in the supply room and closed the door behind her. She looked at me for a moment before she spoke, the way people look at you when they are deciding whether you are ready to hear something true. She said, Ruth, in this building, we treat symptoms. We do not cure patients. A cured patient is a lost customer. The money is not in the healthy and it is not in the dead. The money is in the in between, in the person who is sick enough to need us, but not sick enough to stop paying. That is who this system is built for. And if you are smart, you will spend the rest of your life making sure you are never that person. Then she straightened her uniform and walked back out into the hallway, and we never spoke of it again. I thought about what she said for weeks, then months. Then I started watching. I watched the patients who came through that practice. I watched what happened to them over time. I watched a man come in with stiff joints and leave with a prescription and come back 2 months later with a stomach problem from the prescription and leave with another prescription for the stomach and come back 3 months after that with something new that the second prescription had caused. By the time I left that job, he was on 7 medications and he was sicker than when he had walked in the first time with nothing but stiff joints. He was not an exception. He was the pattern. I made a decision. I was going to treat my body as something to maintain rather than something to repair. I was going to keep the machine running well enough that it never needed to be taken to a shop. And I was going to do that with 4 principles that I have kept without exception for 73 years. I call them laws because that is what they are to me. Not suggestions, not goals, laws. Law 1, the law of the empty stomach. You eat from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, and you do not understand what that is costing you. I grew up during the Depression. There were days when dinner did not happen, days when you went to bed with your stomach talking to you and you lay there and waited for morning. We thought we were suffering. Looking back across 97 years, I think that hunger was one of the things that saved me. When your body is constantly processing food, it has no energy for anything else. The repair work, the cellular cleaning, the dismantling of damaged tissue, and the rebuilding of healthy tissue, all of that requires resources. And if every resource your body has is being routed toward digestion, The repair work does not happen. It gets deferred. Night after night, year after year, the deferred maintenance accumulates. And that accumulation has a name. It has several names. You probably know some of them. When you stop eating for 14, 16 hours, your body shifts. It stops waiting for fuel from outside and starts looking for fuel inside. And what it burns first is the waste, the damaged cells, the inflammatory tissue, the biological garbage that has been building up because you never gave your body the stillness and the time to clear it out. I eat 2 meals a day. I have eaten 2 meals a day since I was in my 30s. I do not eat after the sun goes down. I wake up in the morning and I let myself be hungry for a few hours before I eat anything. And I have done this so long that the hunger feels clean rather than urgent. It feels like the machine doing what the machine is supposed to do when you leave it alone long enough to do it. Law 2, the law of real food. If it was made in a building, I do not eat it. That is the whole rule. It sounds simple because it is simple. The complexity is in what you have been told about food for the last 50 years, which is largely wrong. And in unlearning it, they spent decades telling you that fat would kill you, that butter was the enemy, that the cholesterol in eggs would stop your heart. They replaced fat with sugar and called it healthy, and then expressed surprise when the rates of every chronic disease they claimed to be preventing went in the wrong direction. I watched that happen in real time across half a century, and I want you to understand that I never believed a word of it. Not because I am smarter than anyone, because I was already eating the opposite of what they were recommending, and I felt extraordinary. And that is a difficult argument to abandon. I eat meat, I eat eggs, I eat butter and animal fat and root vegetables and fruit when it is in season, and fermented things that came from my own kitchen rather than a factory. I eat food that my grandmother would have recognized as food. I do not eat anything that requires a label to explain what is inside it. Because if it requires a label to explain what is inside it, what is inside it is not food. My neighbor at 68 takes 11 pills every morning before breakfast. Her breakfast is low fat yogurt from a plastic container and something that comes in a box with a cartoon on it. She cannot understand why she is always tired. I can understand it perfectly. Law 3, the law of physical stress. Your body is not fragile. It is the opposite of fragile. It is a machine that gets stronger when you stress it and weaker when you protect it from stress. This is not a philosophy. This is biology. A bone that does not carry weight loses density. A muscle that does not work loses mass. A cardiovascular system that is never pushed loses its elasticity. You cannot preserve the machine by keeping it in a padded room. You preserve it by using it hard enough that it has a reason to stay strong. I have never belonged to a gymnasium. I have never owned a piece of exercise equipment. What I have done every day of my adult life is physical work. I kept a garden until I was 89. I carried things. I walked on uneven ground. I did not avoid the cold or the heat or the rain because discomfort is not the enemy. Comfort, when it becomes the only condition you can tolerate, is the enemy. I still take cold water at the end of every bath. I have done this since I was in my 40s, not because anyone told me to, because I noticed that the days I did it, I felt more alert and more alive than the days I did not. And I trust what my body tells me more than I trust what any magazine tells me. The cold forces your blood vessels to contract and then expand. It is exercise for the vascular system, for the pipes, and pipes that are never stressed go brittle. I am 97 and my circulation is what my doctor, the one I see once a year because I believe in knowing where you stand, calls remarkable. I believe him. I can feel it. Law 4, the law of the sun and the dark. You have disconnected yourself from the rhythms your body was built to run on, and you are paying for it in ways you probably cannot trace back to the source. Your body runs on light, not the light from your ceiling and not the light from the screen you carry everywhere. The light from the sun, which contains information your biology uses to regulate every hormone your body produces, including the ones that govern sleep, repair, mood, and immune function. When you replace that light with artificial light and then stay inside it until midnight, you are not just disrupting your sleep, you are disrupting the repair cycle that happens during sleep, the cellular maintenance, the hormonal reset, the work your body does every night to undo the damage of every day. I go outside every morning within the first hour of waking. I let the morning light hit my face before I do anything else. I have done this in rain and in cold and in weather that made it uncomfortable because the discomfort does not change the biology. When the sun goes down, I do not fight the dark. I use it. I am in bed early and I sleep deeply and I wake without an alarm. And I have done this for so long that it feels as natural as breathing. The screens you carry, the artificial lights you sit under, they are telling your body it is noon when it is midnight. Your body believes them and it stays awake doing daytime things when it should be doing nighttime things. And the nighttime things do not get done, and the undone nighttime things become the health problems you bring to a doctor at 60 who writes something on a prescription pad and sends you home. I have given you 4 laws. They cost nothing. They require no equipment, no subscription, no prescription. They require only the decision to treat your body as the extraordinary machine it actually is, rather than a problem to be managed by people who profit from its mismanagement. You have a choice. You can continue eating what they package for you and sitting in the comfort they design for you and sleeping under the light they sell you and walking into the clinic every few months to be put on a subscription plan for the rest of your life. Or you can take the machine back. Feed it real things, stress it, let it be cold, let it be hungry, let it sleep in the dark. I am 97 years old. I have never spent a night in a hospital. The blueprint works. The question is whether you want it badly enough to use it.